Welcome to my first installment of many of the Line 6 Helix Stadium Dialing In series. So this is where I dive into amp models in the Helix Stadium and take a look at what they're all about, show you some of my preferred settings, and I'm going to also give you a free single snapshot preset. The link will be below to it if you're so inclined and want to grab a copy of it. You can go do that from my website at no charge. So today, to kick off the series, we're going to be talking about the German Xtra Blue amplifier, and I was really excited to find out that Line 6 had actually included these based on Bogner amplifiers, the blue and the red channel in the Helix Stadium. These have always been favorites of mine. I have a version of this amp here in the studio, and it absolutely kills. So versatile and such great tones hidden in it, and some very deep controls that you can really tweak things to get them exactly how you want them, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. I'm also going to have a link below to the full-blown Ultimate preset, which is going to be a 6-snapshot preset with a full array of effects. It's going to combine both the German Xtra Blue and the German Xtra Red. The link is to that below. If you like what you hear, want to help support my channel, you can grab that preset. But let's dive right in today. Take a look at the German Xtra Blue single snapshot preset I made up here. Starting at the end of the chain, you know, I had so many folks ask me about this. Am I still going to approach Helix Stadium the same way? And my answer was always, yeah, of course I am. These are tools such as the LA Studio Comp at the end here that are things that I use with real amps in the studio. So there's no need, even though we have these great Agoura amp models, to not add this polishing, sweetening touch on at the end. So I have a very subtle LA Studio Comp, just kissing the sound, peak reduction at 5.5, gain at 5, set to compress with the emphasis at 3, and the mix at 100%. I have my favorite little dynamic ambience block here, just to give this less of a bone dry feel and not some giant overt reverb. Obviously, if you want more overt reverb, you can add that in. I usually like to set this with my room size at 12, the shape at late 100, and my mix in and around 36% with the trails on. Coming over here to the parametric EQ, I'm really not doing much, but I always like to have this block in there because if there is a need to tweak this to a particular room or monitoring system, the low and high shelf EQ can do wonders. So I always set those at 650 hertz. I didn't do anything with it on this particular preset. I left it flat at 0, but I do have a low cut with 18 dB per octave at 90 hertz. And then the high shelf, I left it alone too. I still have them turned on in case somebody wants to go in and, you know, add a touch of brightness here, or maybe make it a little duller depending on your guitar and monitoring system and just your preferences. I also have a high cut at 10 kilohertz, 18 dB per octave as well. So the cab that I chose here is going to be the 412 Solo Lead EM with a 160 ribbon, positioned right on the center, believe it or not, right here, smack dab in the middle, and pulled back about 3.25 inches at the 0 degree setting. And since I had my low and high cut over in my parametric EQ block, then I just turned these off in here. Now, for the amp, I wanted to get a nice little overdrive sound here. And this amp has such a beautiful overdrive tone. So I started off with the drive at 7.5, bass at 3.3, mid at 4.1, treble at 5. Now the bright switch is on B1. That's an important switch here, and we'll just show exactly what that does in a second. Boost was on because I wanted to get a little more grit out of this. The structure switch was on high. My level was at 1. Master was at 4.5. Now we also have this depth control, which is the tight, medium, or loose. We'll take you through that in just a second as well. And we have the style, triode, or pentode. So just to show you with the same settings what all these switches do, I have the B1 setting, which is like the bright switch. If I was to turn that off, things get a little less bright, a little duller. I kind of liked it on the B1 setting because it gave it a little bit more cut. It maybe cut through in a mix better. Going on to B2. A different style of bright. Maybe a little more subtle. But for this one, I actually liked it on the B1 setting. But don't be afraid to play around with that. Maybe for your monitoring system, you want it a little bit darker. Or you're playing a brighter guitar. But for this particular situation, I have it set at B1. The boost on and off, so off. I I love having all these variety of switches on the amps to really be able to tailor the tone to exactly what we want. And then we have the structure switch, low. So you can see if we play around with these, without touching our drive, we can really affect the whole gain structure of the amp. I kind of like the sizzle that this combination of B1 on the boost and structure on high was giving. Now down to the depth here, this is really interesting too. This is kind of like the power amp excursion setting, and on the tight setting, we're gonna have a very nice tight low end. And where I ended up with it, we'll go to medium. You can kind of hear the low end loosen up a bit. Look at how nice and tight that is. Then we can go to the loose setting, where that bottom end gets a little bit flubbier. I was really gelling with that tight setting, and it was very nice. But again, knowing what they do, you can go in here and play around and really listen and fine tune to what your needs are for the particular preset. And notice with all these things, we didn't really have to come in here and touch our main settings. These little controls on this amp give us a lot of control over the feel and the tonal qualities of the amp. And then we have the style pentode or triode. Obviously get a volume drop, but also a little bit of a feel difference. So these are the settings that I ended up with, and this is how that preset sounded with everything. Very subtle differences with the little sweeteners that I put in. If you listen to it without those, subtle bit of compression and reverb. Then our low and our high cuts. And it just gave it that nice little polish. Let's listen to it with some different pickup types. Here it is with some P90s. Of course, it'll clean up nicely with that volume. How about some single coil pickups? That's a bridge pickup on my Strat. All right, so there you have it. That is the single snapshot preset and the settings that I fell into on the German Xtra Blue. That is available at my website below at the link. Absolutely free. You can go grab that. And while you're there, if you do want to check out the full-blown ultimate preset where you'll get 6 snapshots, both the German Xtra Blue and Red, together with a full array of effects, ready to go for studio or live, I think you'll enjoy that preset very much. It goes right from nice and clean all the way up to searing lead tones. And like I said, with a full array of effects built in there too. I'm going to leave you today with the demo video utilizing the various snapshots from the ultimate preset in a full mix so you can hear what they sound like when combined together in a full production. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this first installment of Dialing In for the Helix Stadium. I do appreciate you spending your time with me. Please like the video, share it with anybody you think would get some use or enjoyment out of watching it. Also, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content. I'll be back really soon with some more. Enjoy the music on the way out. Go grab some presets if you're so inclined, and we'll talk very soon. Ciao for now.
Bye.